Good morning. Welcome to Positive Vibes. I'm Shane Nikolic, and this is Positive Vibes. Making positivity and gratitude louder in a podcast world. And with me today, I have my coworker Jamie Swift, who's also a filmmaker, and he's the one that's going to be or is in the process of making a movie about my life. And he's also got several other projects on the line, and I just wanted to bring him on the show here and introduce him and, maybe give some more positive vibes to the show here. And so, welcome, Jamie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Uh, yeah, so, it's great. It's great that, we're not in the restaurant today.
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. First off, I guess general. Like I've already said. You're a filmmaker. Besides being a prep cook, working in the restaurant there, you also make films, making content, and just got some basic questions here. That maybe you've told me, and I just figured bring them out for at least the listeners, viewers. Um, and first one here, where where did you grow up? Where did your story start?
I grew up all around Western Washington, pretty much. Um, lived in Auburn for a really long time, from when I was like 6 to near 16. Lived in Kent a few times, Seattle for a little bit. So all around, moved around a little bit, except for that one brief 10-year period in Auburn.
Okay. And yeah, and I'd like to point out that when I picked you up this morning, I actually you happen to now live in live with our general manager, or in her house, renting a room from her, in the house that I lived in when I was a kid. Anyway, uh, where I lived when I was a teenager, um, preteens and teenager, when I fell out of the tree that caused my traumatic brain injury, or when I fell out of the tree that resulted in my traumatic brain injury. Anyway, that's where I was living. And yeah, I was thinking about that this morning when I was parked there to pick you up, waiting for you to come out. It's like, whoa, yeah, that's cool. I'm parked at my old house. But yeah, anyway, um, what sparked your desire, your interest to be a filmmaker? Was it, I'm just curious, was it seeing one particular movie, or just a culmination in general of seeing a bunch of movies and saying, that's what I want to do?
Well, it started, I think it started when I was really little. Like, I saw Lost World Jurassic Park 2 on VHS when I was like 4. And I was like, I need to be a dinosaur when I grow up. But then I found out you can't do that. So I was like, oh, I can make a movie with dinosaurs in it, I guess. And I saw Godzilla 1998, same age, 4 years old. Again, I was like, I need to be Godzilla one of these days. Found out you can't be Godzilla either. But I guess you can make a movie about Godzilla. So on we go. And then I'm 6 years old. I see Lord of the Rings. I'm like, I could be a hobbit one of these days. Turns out you can't be a hobbit either. But you can make a movie about hobbits. So that's where that comes from. That's where it started, really. And then I started learning more and more about movies. I'd watch special features all the time, the behind the scenes stuff, commentaries, like what I wanted to know what the people behind the scenes had to say about the movie, because I wanted to I wanted to figure out like what are all the roles behind the scenes and which one suits me best. And I was like, all right, writer, I can write. And then I was like, well, director seems to have more control than the writer does, and it's their vision. So that's when I started learning what the word director meant and what a director was. And then a little bit later on, I started, I was a teenager and I was starting to learn more and more about how I can apply that to where I'm at in that point in time in my life. So I started watching movies like, actually, my dad showed me a few movies, Fight Club, Seven, and the movie Saw. And then I was like, okay, I can make movies. These aren't big concept movies. These are movies that you can shoot with people and not big special effects. So it made it more real to me. And since then, I pretty much just riding that same wave for the past, I guess, 10 years now.
Right on. Right on. Very cool. It's a way to, develop your interest and, sort of branch out from, well, okay, I can't do this, but, in the movie, but I can do this, and then, evolve from there. Right on. That's cool. And what's your favorite genre of movie?
I like horror movies, thrillers, pretty much, yeah, anything that can cause a little bit of suspense. Some suspense that can get people to engage more with the film. Like, again, since it started with Jurassic Park and Godzilla, it's like that's like suspense for children. And that's pretty scary, a giant monster. Or in my case, a giant monster I could be. And then it sort of snowballs from there, and I start watching other films of the ilk, and then sort of evolves into I'm watching Seven, starring Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman. Silence of the Lambs is another one.
Right on. Yeah, I remember watching that. Those are definitely good movies.
We did bond on comedy, so like The Big Lebowski.
Yeah, The Big Lebowski. That's an awesome one.
I love The Big Lebowski.
Screw it, dude. Let's go bowling. Okay, and just sort of going back here. I know you've said you talked about going to college. Where did you go to college?
I went to Green River on and off for several years, several years, because I wanted to do one thing, because sometimes when you're trying to be a filmmaker as a kid or as a teenager, people will tell you that that's not a realistic job to get, so you have to go to school for all these other things. But I keep circling back to filmmaking, and every time I get a chance to filmmake, I drop out of college and then come back. So I've been there for journalism. I was there for English, and thought about going for music, but I never went for music. I never ended up going for music. But psychology, forensics, whole bunch of stuff I went to go try to learn. And then somebody would be like, hey, you want to make a movie? And I drop out. I'm like, yeah, let's make a movie. And then I come back, and it's a cycle that has not ended yet. Hopefully it ends. Hopefully it's ending now, but until now it hasn't ended.
Yeah. Well, I as you're talking about that, you go to college for a while, and then, someone says, hey, you want to shoot a movie? You're like, yeah, screw this, let's go shoot a movie.
Yeah, that's my...
Screw this college stuff, let's go shoot a movie. I don't know, to me that I've never been to college. I've thought about it, and I was actually looking into it one time, a couple times, and then, just never did it, but, or at least as of yet anyway, who knows about the future. But maybe I'll try it out sometime, see what all the hoopla's about. But as of recently in my life, I've been following Gary Vaynerchuk, and one thing he's sort of passionate about is, or that he talks a lot about anyway, is telling people you don't have to be in debt and go to college and all that, and there's a lot of other avenues, but anyway, So I guess that's what I'm on, is just trying to find my other avenue, or at least paving my own path, making my own avenue. Um, yeah, and I wanted to ask you, you were talking about other projects.
Yeah, yeah. I'm starting a YouTube channel, and I'm starting a podcast with another coworker of ours who he met some guys in L.A. like a year ago, I think, and have become good friends with him. And we're thinking of starting a production company together using this YouTube channel and this podcast. You can find the podcast on Twitch and Twitter. It's called The Podcast with No Name. That is the official title so far. And we talk film and whatever you want, because we'll think about doing 2 or so streams a week, and one episode will be about film, the other episode will be about whatever we want to talk about in any given time. We'll have guests from work, like you, and it'll be hilarious to have Austin. And the coworker of ours, his name is Rick. He is also a really talented filmmaker in his own right. He has a lot of short films. I watched some of his music videos that he edited, directed for college. They weren't as bad as he said they were. I'll tell you that. But yeah, we both have a very similar passion for film, so we think that we should start a production company if we can. But yeah, we have a couple of YouTube shorts in the pipeline that we've been writing. He has a feature film that he's writing. We have a friendly race going on right now where we're both writing We're both writing scripts, and the first one who gets their script done is the first one that's going to get funded and made into a film. So we're racing, having a good friendly race over that. Yeah, it's kind of wild. It looks like things are starting to fall into place.
Right on. Well, I'll just have you know that I started putting that. Oh, I put the full name of your podcast in my phone on the Google search, but I just started and I put the podcast with, and it came up. Your podcast
nice.
Came up in auto suggest.
Nice.
The no name came up in suggestion. So that's pretty cool if it's going to come up in auto suggest like that on Google.
Yeah, we don't have an episode out yet.
Yeah.
Sometime soon though. Someday soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Well, then hopefully that name's not already taken.
Oh, we've been checking it.
If it's coming up in auto suggest. But anyway, now I have it saved so I can check on it. Yeah. I had a bunch of other questions I was gonna write down, but neglected to. Yeah. So. Okay. So you guys are talking about writing these scripts and racing. So when you're like racing, trying to finish your script before someone else finishes their script, is it just sort of a friendly race, or is it like you have to be first? Because for myself, I don't know if I'm rushing trying to write something fast like that and beat someone else, then I don't know. I'd worry about the quality of it.
We're both perfectionists, and we will criticize each other's work as it goes, making sure that we both make the perfect film.
Okay.
So neither of us will be disappointed whoever comes first, because we're both going to be producers of each other's movies. It's just one is writer director. He'll be writer director of his. I'm producer of his, and then he'll be producer of mine where I'm writer director of mine.
Oh, okay.
So either way, we're making a movie. We just need to. It's just who gets to do it first. Who gets to make theirs first with their name on it as director?
Yeah.
So that's where that's coming from.
So essentially, it's just like a race to find out who gets their name on the credits.
Mm-hmm. Who gets their name in the director spot first?
Yeah.
See, I'm just gonna produce it, or he's gonna produce mine. We'll see. We'll see
Right
who
on.
wins.
Right on.
So neither of us are worried about who comes first.
Yeah. That's cool. Right on. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. No comments on the show yet. I was just wanting to. I can see over here if anyone's uh, commented on the show yet. On this show, and speaking of shows, I just figured since you're here, I figured I'd ask you. You know, had you when you I'm sorry, I'm trying to word this right. Had you read my autobiography that I wrote and published before you asked me?
No, I just listened to you talk about it. Because, well, you trained me to be a dishwasher, and then I moved out of dishwashing in like a week.
Yeah.
But no, that week we were dishwashing together, you were just like, this happened and this happened. And I'm like, dang, that's pretty wild. That's interesting. We should make a movie about it. And I think I waited a couple months before I asked you.
Yeah.
Because you told me more and more because when I was a prep cook, we were working every day together. You would be over here, I'd get bored or you'd get bored, and then we'd just start talking. And that's when the idea for this movie came about. And then you started telling me more and more, and it just became more and more interesting to put together. And I figured, knowing what I knew at that point, it'd be more of a game of discovery for me. So if I bring the camera, and because if I read it, I feel like if I was reading it at the same time, I want to be as interested in asking questions, or at least at this point in time.
Yeah.
So like when we're going to places and you're recalling new things about them, I can dig deep and like try to see like what else are we going to come up with. And that's why the last shoot we did, you just plainly would tell me the story, so that when I go through it, I can find more things to dig into and ask questions about. That's sort of what that was about too.
Oh, okay. And
we're like maybe halfway through the explanation part.
Yeah.
Because we still got more to go. We got you explaining the first up until physical therapy, I think, right?
If I remember right, we were up to like 8th grade or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right around after that, after you started like you got on your bike again, right?
Yeah.
I think that's where we ended that part, and that was about 2.5 hours of footage. So that we're not even done with the explanation part yet. We have a lot of shots, so we did go to a lot of places, get a lot of good shots, at least. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we might have to go back to certain spots, or maybe find new things to dive into, because I feel like there's still some stuff left to go find.
Yeah.
And we still got probably 2 more times for you to explain the story. Maybe even 3. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh boy. No, I was sort of expecting it to, expecting multiple shots of, certain things, take multiple shots of that same thing over and over to make sure and get the right shot, right effect into the movie. Yeah, and I'd like to point out that I never realized how much I really talk with my hands until I'm sitting here in front of the screen. You can really see it. But yeah, it's just very, very cool, I mean, sure, I've thought about, I've thought about filmmaking before, and thought about, the processes that go into it. And it's like you were mentioning Lord of the Rings earlier. I've watched Lord of the Rings, and as a matter of fact, the set of DVDs I have is the extended director's cut. So of course it's got one disc it's got 3 discs, one for each movie, and then 3 extra discs, one for the director's cut. And so I get to see I've got to see the behind the scenes for all the movies, and I'm just bringing that up because it came to mind, but it's just very, very interesting and cool to be able to see all the behind the scenes and what went into making the movie. And one of my grandma's cousins was he worked for International Special Effects, and yeah, you know, talking to him about some of the stuff that he was involved in, uh, so far as making movies, you know, that, and I forget immediately. Oh, Knight Rider.
Mm.
He worked on the Knight Rider car itself.
Oh yeah, I think you told me a little bit about that.
Yeah, and getting that ready for the show. That was like that's like super cool because you know back in the '80s I used to watch that show every time it was on TV, and you know it's super cool just to you know a little, get a little information and know about the behind the scenes, what goes on into the actual making of the show. You know, just like the director's cuts, what goes into making the movies. And of course, like we're talking about and we're doing, you know, making the movie itself.
Yeah, this is actually more of like a, the way that this is being made. It's you know, it's more like an article, like a documentary piece, not so much as like a full scale documentary production, but like a if I guess it's shot more in a day in your life type way, but we're going through a day in your whole life, you know. we're going through everything, and it was two pronged the way that I'm doing it. First being it's what I had, you know, that camera, but I felt like it was a lot closer and more personal to just have the camera rolling while you're talking than having, you know, full equipment with me all the time, setting up somewhere, making you sit down and say things. Instead, we're going to places, I could just carry the camera, hold it, point it at you while you talk about what you're thinking about. And I feel like that's been helping a lot more. Gives it more of like a, when people watch it, when people see it, it's going to feel like they're sitting in the car with you and just listening to you tell the story, or they're having a conversation with you, you know?
Yeah.
As opposed to sitting there and watching somebody talk at them for an
Yeah.
hour and a half.
Yeah, rather than like being up on stage talking to a crowd, you know,
It's more like-
actually going out throughout the day with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is more like a hanging out, learning somebody's life, instead of somebody telling you, talking at you about it.
Yeah.
Which, you know, it's a little bit more personal that way, I think.
Okay. I definitely see what you're saying there. Yeah, it's like, yeah, like you can have a film. You know, you can watch a guy up on stage, on video, talking about you know animals out in the wild, or you can you know actually see the movie that the videographer's out there, you know, shooting the film in the wild with all the animals on you know out in their natural environment.
Yeah.
I don't know. Not that I'm a wild animal.
Oh, you're a wild animal sometimes.
Okay. I don't know where I was going. I wasn't going for that correlation, but there it is.
Definite wild animal.
Okay, maybe not all the time though.
Just most of the time.
Just most of the time. Okay. And you were, yeah. I remember the other day at work, you and Rick were talking about your podcast, and what I was just wondering, is there any particular genre that you're going for, or just in general?
In general, movie discussion, whatever movies we're watching, whatever we want to talk about that day. We might talk about a director's whole filmography, maybe. You know, it's kind of up in the air, whatever we feel like we want to say about film in that particular day.
Okay.
You know, there's no main genre that we're looking at. There's no main sort of, I guess, niche that we're trying to find. It's just film in general. It's just a whole film talk thing.
Okay. Very cool. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have written down more questions. Let's see. Okay, so what why what essentially, how'd you end up doing what you're doing now for work?
I got tired of the last place I worked at. decided. Well, I guess it really does come back to I'm really good friends with our GM's son. So I was like, hey, I'm looking for a job that doesn't suck. And he's like, I don't know, go ask my mom. So I went and said, hey, can I work here? And she was like, okay. Basically. And that's how I ended up working there.
Okay. So it's not like you got a passion for prep cooking.
No. No, I didn't grow up going, man, I can't wait to be a prep cook.
Okay. Yeah, because, well, it's like I know it takes quite a lot of work and sometimes an immense amount of work to break into the film genre, or film, find your niche or whatever, get into the film industry is what I'm trying to say. And it worked. And it worked out pretty good because I just said it. But yeah.
Yes.
And yeah, that was, and it's just like what I was thinking was you were planning on us doing getting some more shots for the movie and today, but due to the fact that you just moved and all that,
Yeah, the camera's in a box somewhere.
Yeah, can't find your camera. And it just occurred to me that, maybe we could record some, just get some audio or maybe get a little video on my phone, that I could send you and maybe get that in there,
Possibly, yeah.
Making content. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, the only problems there are just with editing, how to, like quality and software and.
Oh, true.
Like mixing two different camera styles can be an issue sometimes.
Oh, that's right.
Because they have and maybe there's two different image qualities or two different image layers, because images have different layers and how they're presented. So there could be, an issue there. That's the only way. That's the only reason why I haven't brought up the GoPro at all yet. I mean, I'll find a way to do that, but
yeah,
I don't know yet.
Okay, right on. I just figured I'd throw that out there since it came to mind.
Mm-hmm. I thought about it too. I thought about using my phone too.
Yeah.
But then I was thinking about could be conflict of software.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. Well, yeah, and then my phone would be a conflict of interest since it's on your camera. But I don't know, all this conflict, I figured to throw that out there. But yeah, at any rate, let's see. Yeah, I was just checking the settings on there. I can't wait to get going with this, get further along with our movie and get that produced. Well, you're actually doing the work with the actual film and recordings, but yeah, I just can't wait to see the finished product. It's going to be super cool.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty excited about it. Soon I'll be able to get my hands on that computer that I wanted to edit it on.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll edit whatever I have if I don't have everything by then, and then know the rest of the roadmap. Maybe be nice.
Okay.
But
right on.
Yeah, so it's coming along. I know I have tons of footage on that camera.
Yeah.
So that's good. I just need to edit it. And a way to edit it. Before, when I was doing journalism for school, they had computers there. So I didn't have to worry about getting a computer.
Right on. Oh yeah, that brings up another point. Another thought is that I was going to ask you about that. is your previous journalism experience. How far back did that go?
Actually, that pretty much just started at school. That's where I got an interest and passion for journalism and wanting to make a documentary or documentaries. I've always liked documentaries, but I've never thought, yeah, I can make a documentary. Yeah, I'm going to do that. But then when I started going to school and I did my classes of journalism, I was like, I could do this. I could be happy doing this. So that's why I started thinking that way. Like, if I find something to have a documentary about, I'm going to go for it. Unfortunately, I found you.
Right on. Yeah, unfortunately, fortunately, whatever. It's all good. Yeah. And I was just wondering, are there any other movies or projects that you're close to being finished with, or are they all sort of open right now, waiting to be?
Pretty much open. We're in the writing stage for most of the stuff.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things we want to work on. We're going to work on a Trapper's universe, Trapper's cinematic universe.
Right on. Trapper's cinematic universe. Huh.
Where the Steinkraus twins are thugs. They're mob. They're crime lords, like a Soprano style, but it's centered around the dishwasher twins.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember you talking about
that, and you're the. That's where you're the cult leader and Eben's godfather. It's gonna be hilarious. I love it.
That will definitely be a movie to watch.
Mm-hmm. I guess another genre that I definitely am interested in making is comedy.
Definitely, that will be one to watch for sure. With me as cult leader, and portraying a cult leader, and
Portraying.
that's what I said. Oh yeah, portraying, not being, but. Yeah, and it sounds like a good one.
Oh yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. It'll bring some cheer to everybody who's working, I think. Can't wait, because we're gonna film it just outside, like in the back, for the most part. It's be like a fake documentary.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Oh my gosh.
A fake documentary.
I'm gonna. I got a pitch. I have an idea. I want to pitch to our front of house guy Tom, because I want to make him. I want to put him in one of my short films about a. There's a monster that is off in the distance, and I want him to be just like a lone truck driver, and he sees this monster pacing back and forth, and then he gets stranded, and he has to find a way to get unstranded while there's this monster, or just an image of something pacing back and forth. So it's gonna be a creepy, like, little short film. It's gonna lead into my actual film though.
Yeah.
One that I'm writing. So I do have that going, and then I'm not gonna talk about this one in too much detail, but I have one where I want Brandon, our tall chef Brandon, to dress as Sasquatch, and. Yeah, I shouldn't talk about that one too much. That one's definitely gonna be made.
That so far it just sounds scary.
I'll tell you more about that one off mic.
Yeah. Well, that one just sounds scary, so I'm not sure I want to hear about it now.
Brandon and Sasquatch is already a scary concept.
I already have to see the guy at work. No, I'm kidding. No, but that sounds super cool. I'm just, yeah, it's just, I got to be very, very creative to get into that, doing movies, making movies, producing, well, filmmaker, making the movies. Yeah.
We got some hellos.
Oh, good morning, Carly. Good morning, Haley. Yeah, I
Morning, guys.
just looked over there and saw that. Hi. um, yeah, so that'll be super cool to, you know, get your creative, get these thoughts, these plans that you have, these creative ideas you have in your head, get those actually produced and, make your films. And of course, the one with me, make our film, but, make the film about my life, actually get your movies out there. And after that, do you have plans or, things you'd like to have happen with your movies? What's the next steps?
Like earlier, hopefully making our production company will let me sort of have free reign of making whatever I want. But I have, like I said, I have all these shorts and in the back catalog, and this idea for a feature film that I'm sure will get made. It's just who's gonna make it first,
Yeah.
Maybe mine will be made first, maybe mine will be second, but yeah. Hopefully the way it looks like, if everything goes the way it looks, the way it's set up right now, I'm looking at my next 10 years probably of like film and producing other people's films. So that'll be fun.
Right on.
It'll be fun considering, the people that Rick has talked to and people that he's made friends with being in LA. Hopefully that'll roll into something, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't expect much. I know that they're his friends, not my friends yet, but I'm going to steal them.
Yeah. And hey man, I'm gonna steal your friends and your friends will be my friends, so then maybe we can all be friends. Yeah, at any rate, oh, I know you mentioned film festival the other day. What and you were talking about going to it. Where was that film festival and what is it again?
Oh, I don't even remember what I was talking about now.
No, it was in Vegas, wasn't it?
No, I was gonna go and hang out in Vegas with some people that we know.
Oh.
But I don't think I'm gonna be doing that because of unforeseen circumstances.
Oh, okay. All right, well, never mind on that then.
Mostly work-related stuff.
Yeah.
But there are film industry people. That I would have been probably meeting up with.
Right on. Okay. Another thing that went through my head was thinking about, in this process of making films and, having shorts, getting short films made, making smaller content and rolling into bigger content. It's like myself, I'm dishwasher at Trapper Sushi, but, started out making content. I wrote my autobiography, and it's like just it's snowballing from there little bit by little bit, making content for social media, putting that out there. Now, and been making my podcast for a couple of years now, not so consistently until very recently when I started at the station here with this show, and sort of moved my podcast here. Which reminds me, okay, never mind. I just have to remember that to take the audio and put them on my other. Yeah. Anyway, got multiple things going, multiple pieces of content going on here, but at any rate, making our content and having this job over here at Trappers to get by on and live on.
Yeah. So we'll live while we make content.
Yeah, until we get until our content does get a lot bigger, so far as mainstream movies, or movies that actually bring in money. And, it's like, you know, my book, wait till that, hopefully brings in some money. Becomes a bestseller maybe. And that'll be the day, right? But it's like I was thinking for now, it's just cool and fun just to make the content and put it out there, get our names out there so that people get to know our names and our faces and get an idea, and that's how the whole content and movie podcast thing goes, is just get your name out there. When when I first wrote my book, I was thinking, okay, I'll write my book and tomorrow will be a household name. That's what was going on in my head, and it's like, okay, maybe not. Wrote my book, and here it is 4 years later, and almost it'll be 4 years in a couple months since my book was published. But it's like you make some content, and then you make some more content, make some more content around that, and that's how you get into the film industry, or like I started out the writing industry, or
Not the easiest industries.
definitely not the easiest. But good morning, Dee.
Morning, D.
I'd say good to see you, but we can't see you. You can see us, though. And thank you for the comment. We're just making some content. All right, let's see. Got a few minutes left here. See if try and rack my brain. See if there was anything else I can remember that I wanted to ask you. No, that's about it. I can ask you on Monday, or actually Wednesday when you get back to work. No, but seriously. So yeah, the next, just we'll just keep making our content, and it's like with the movie that we're making, the movie that we're making already, about my life, that'll be super cool to get that out there. It's sort of, you wanted to make my book about my life into a movie about my life, so it's sort of not a straight across transition, but in a way it is. It's like we didn't make a script,
Right.
like write a script from
Right.
my book,
We
translate that into a script.
Yeah, we just knew where we wanted to go.
Yeah.
We knew what points we needed to hit. Also, we're doing this 4 years after you wrote it. So it's like there's more that's happened since then.
Yeah.
A lot more, actually.
And it's well, that's like I've said, in my posts on social media and on my podcast, is that this I did write. My book was actually published August 15th, 2016 was the exact date it was published. So it took me 3 months to write. Working on it before work, after work, and on the weekends. When I had free time on the weekends, I'd work on it then. And it took, I don't know, maybe about 7 or 8 months to go through the publishing process. And, being sent back and forth. They'd have something that I needed to fix, and so I'd fix it and send it back, and then they'd come up with something else, and that's how it works. Until it gets done right. But yeah, it's like in the past, like I've been saying in the past couple of years, in the past 4 years, in my on my social media. It's like a lot has happened since then. My mindset and perspective have changed since then. You know, it's like life goes on, life changes. That's what life is all about. It's a series of changes, and you know, so but what I've been saying is that, you know, I definitely have at least a second or third book in me, you know, of life since then, you know, and how my life has changed and how perspective and mindset have changed. Uh, you know, and it's like you just started working there. I met you like what, a year or two ago?
Less than a year ago.
Less than a year ago.
Yeah.
I was thinking that, but
Because
I'm
my
like,
year's coming up July, I think.
okay,
Mid-July.
cool. My 45th year is coming up in July. No, well, my birthday's in July, so go figure. But
It's usually how that works out.
yeah.
On your birthday, you get like maybe a year older or something like that. Been there,
Yeah.
done that.
That's how it happens. But yeah, it's like there's always, you know, it's like met you and we started talking about films and got this going, you know. Heck, we can make another, you know, we can, a book can be written about that, you know, or at least another chapter or whatever. And that's how it works, you know, just like I know I refer to this guy like maybe way too often, but that's like Gary Vee talks about, you know, just keep making content, you know, keep doing, just keep making, you know, and it's like and as time goes on, I can see, you know, okay, I wrote my book and now this much has happened, more content can be made around that, you know, and it's like the whole thing can be made into, you know, like we're doing, the whole thing can be made into a movie, you know, and it's like little, and like Gary Vee, I was watching, or I've seen on Gary Vee's website, he made this 69, I forget how many page, but like I think it's 69 or 70 page deck of page deck of cards, basically showing how all these different steps on how you can make multiple pieces of content from a giant piece of content. He's made like so many pieces of content out of that 2.5 hour YouTube video from his speech there in Portland where I met him. And he made, you know, it got at least 10, I want to say 10 or 11, maybe more pieces of content out of just my meeting him, Mike, and talking to him, mic to mic, you know, and it's like massive pieces of content can be made, have been made out of that 2.5 hours, you know, and this just flashed through my mind. I remember when I walked into the office when Gary Vee flew me back to New York, and there in 2017 after I met him in Portland, he flew me back there, and I walked into the office there at VaynerMedia in New York City, and he showed me where my desk was for the day, and I'm like, oh, hey, D-Rock, hey, nice to meet you. And I'm thinking, nice to meet you person to person. And he's like, oh, hey, I've already met you. And, you know, essentially he filmed me there and filmed me when he was filming the YouTube video in Portland. And then, you know, all the editing and everything, he pretty much got to know me. But yeah, it's like, you know, just the world of making content and, you know, all the little pieces of it, you know, that go together and go into it are super cool. And, yeah, at any rate, I just, you know, wanted to make sure and bring you on my show here, and, you know, so that not only me, but, you know, for the listeners and viewers of this show could get a lot better idea of what goes, you know, what goes into filmmaking, what's in the head of a filmmaker. And all right, well, that's about it. And it's about time. So,
It's my story. I'm sticking to it.
yeah, that's our story, and we're sticking to them. And I just want to thank all of the viewers and listeners for tuning in this morning, to my show here, Positive Vibes, and just trying to add a little positivity and gratitude, being grateful for what we have, and moving forward with that, and just throwing that out there into the community, and as always, just. Stay kind. Stay kind. Oh, sorry, cracking my back. I fell off a ladder the other day, and it sort of hurts still on my hip and my lower back area. But I'm living with it, and I'm still running, so whatever. But just remember, stay kind, optimistic, and grateful, and have a phenomenal day. And with that, we're out. Later. Ciao. Have a great day.
No, you.
No, you. Okay, let's see here.